When scientifically proven theories are such integral parts of science and are used as a foundation for humanity as a whole, they are referred to as laws of science or physics. This is because basically everything about humanity's reality, and even future science, is based upon them. There is a tendency for some to suggest that science has concluded that there is no God, but the fact is that science is actually unable to prove that there is no God. Even more interestingly, there is a growing consensus that actually points to the conclusion that there must be some unknown force or reason for our existence that is yet to be discovered or explained. Many argue that if science actually had to lean one way or another, that it would lean toward God, or at the very minimum, some yet undiscovered knowledge. A prime example of this can be observed when we look at the failure of science when applied to the Big Bang. The Big Bang is the theory that the universe began with an infinitely hot and dense single point that inflated to form everything in existence today. The laws of science and physics work perfectly explaining our reality after the Big Bang, but scientists are the first to admit that much of our science breaks down when applied to or before the Big Bang. However, instead of admitting the failure, it is easier for some in our society to ignore the contradiction altogether. If pressed on the subject, they admit there are issues, but that they just need time to find new science to fill the huge holes in their conclusions. They are essentially asking us to stop thinking about a massive problem with a conclusion against a supreme being and accept their opinions about it. Most free thinkers with common sense would conclude that if these are laws of physics that we base our existence off of, either they are wrong or there is a factor that has not yet been considered. We know that a number of the laws of conservation fall short in the Big Bang, along with the first law of thermodynamics, that states that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Anyone even slightly aware of the importance of these laws will find this alarming. How can something so fundamental to explaining our reality so elegantly fail so completely when it comes to what came before or caused the Big Bang? Also, if that is the case, what are those of us in search of the truth to do? First, we must step back and simplify the question. We exist. Everything in our reality exists. Our life experience tells us that everything, including us, has to come from something. To make the problem fit our everyday life, let's look at an example. If we walk into a room and see a cake on the counter, we can use this as a simplified representation of everything that exists to help us ask the right questions about our existence. What are the thought processes that determine where the cake originated from? For the non-believer who points to the Big Bang theory, everything originated from a single point of nothingness and produced the ingredients that would come together on their own to make the cake. For believers, the thought that something can come from nothing simply does not make sense. As an objective third party, we know that there is no example that we can point to that can explain something coming into existence from nothing. Not only must the cake be created by some external force, but the ingredients had to exist in the first place in order to begin the whole process. How much more complex is our existence than a cake with 10 ingredients? Cake. Our question when it comes to the Big Bang is therefore, what caused it? In other words, do we believe the cake ingredients came into existence spontaneously from nothingness and baked itself, or do we believe there was a baker? Some in society tell us that we must choose their conclusion and simply not ask the difficult questions for which there are no scientific answers. They want us to accept scientific conclusions that are not yet complete and not think deeper. Ironically, they are pushing others to have faith in their conclusions that have huge problems and that they are unable to resolve. We disagree. We can ask the question, is it possible for the Big Bang theory to be true and that God exists? Could God be the initiator of the Big Bang? Is the reason our laws of science work for all but the Big Bang because God set everything in motion? If that is true and God is a being that powerful, how much more difficult would it be for the Creator to accomplish anything mankind would deem a miracle in any of the world's religious texts? Frankly, both perspectives ask those seeking the truth to have faith. The main difference is that believers in a higher power are more honest about it. They are saying that one should have faith that something cannot be created from nothing. Non-believers, on the other hand, are asking us to have faith in them, as they cannot yet prove how something can come from nothing. If serious scientists agree that they cannot prove or disprove God, and that at the very least they need more scientific knowledge, should we not be aware of that? Is it not disingenuous to say that science has concluded that there is no God? Since a growing number of scientists believe that there is sufficient evidence of a creator, then we must ask, why do so many of those in power in our society seem to push an agenda as fact that has not been proven as such? If our own common sense points to the fact that something cannot come from nothing, then why are so many of those in power in society pushing for everyone to believe otherwise? We will address this topic in Proofs of God, why they don't want you to believe in God. For further and more in-depth discussions on this series and related topics, please visit Aware Care Share.